Hey guys, this is Casper with Tape, and today you join me for episode 1 of series 2 of Eeloo base. Yes, it is back after probably a little while, haven't really checked, but I really want to start doing more stuff in the base, and what I'm launching right now is the first part of my carrier. As you may have guessed from the title of the video, I'm making some carriers, and, as you will see later, reusing an old carrier type thing. But anyway, I basically just strapped some boosters to the side of this fuel tank because it weighed loads and I couldn't really be bothered to build a proper rocket because I needed to mount that probe on the top, and the nuclear engines just break if you put any force underneath them. So that was a little annoying, but it's fine. This is a little underpowered, this launch vehicle, because it's not really a launch vehicle, it's just boosters strapped to the side, like I say. So yeah, but because there's about, as you can see on the Delta V thing, 9,500 Delta V in this thing right now, I can just use the nuclear engines when I need them. But anyway, that is us almost in orbit, but it just needs to have a little circularization burn later because I burned a little bit much, you know, stuff and all that boring things. But anyway, I was going to say something, but as always I forget. Anyway, there those go, smashing my stuff, but everything's fine. Yeah, this carrier will be able to take people, obviously. It'll be able to take cargo, quite a lot of cargo. You'll see how the front bit makes it look a lot cooler. This is just fuel and a large docking port, and a little bit of metal, which is part of a corridor, as you'll see. It's made to be a little just aesthetic more than anything else. But anyway, I've put it in a 90-kilometer orbit to make it easier for me to rendezvous with the next, the core with all the stuff on it. But as you can see there on my Triton 1 launch vehicle, all that metal on it, that's corridors. I wanted corridors on this. I was designing it whilst I was in Mexico. I was like, oh, what do I need? It needs to be able to carry things with big docking ports and small docking ports and medium docking ports. And it needs to be able to take people. It needs RCS. It's going to need fuel. And I was like, it needs corridors. I'm going to give up a lot of functionality for corridors. Yeah, but it does have about 6,500 Delta V, and it is all stock except for NetJeb, because NetJeb just is nice to have. But anyway, that's starting to shake around crazily, which is a little annoying. But yeah, it is stock because I was going to do some B9 parts, but then I thought, you know what, the really cool thing about making big carriers in KSP is that they're stock. Like, I love Macy Dean's stuff when he used to do YouTube stuff because it was stock and it was awesome and it was battles. And on the subject of battles, someone did ask me in the comments if I was going to do something like that. I'm not going to do something quite in the Macy Dean style. If you know who he is, he did some pretty awesome stuff. I'm going to do it slightly different. I am going to do some battles, it's more concept in my head right now, but kind of cinematics is what I'm talking about, not storyline, because I'm not much of a story guy, and that would take a long time. And I just want to do some cinematic stuff, which I'm not going to talk about that much right now because I'm doing a different series right here, as you can see. But it shouldn't be too long if I do end up doing it. But anyway, because I was way far behind the fuel, I would be very far off if I tried to rendezvous now. So, we will skip forward until I am very close, and I think approaching. Yeah, I've made my burn, and I'm approaching because there was a lot in this video, so I just cut things out that didn't really need to be seen. But it is in the night side now. That'll be horrible because of YouTube. I'm sorry about that. But it's basically, you can see the important stuff. Now when the sun has just risen, everything is fine. And Sidbo Kerman is in the cockpit of this. I've used a cupola pod because I wanted lots of awesome views as Panopticon. They have one on the International Space Station, where they take pictures and stuff from. Annoyingly, Sidbo Kerman, I put Sean Kerman in there. I hired Sean Kerman because I've watched Scott Madley's series and really love Sean Kerman. Anyway, I am approaching very slowly. Didn't speed this up. Didn't really... Oh no, did I? Who knows. Anyway, we're about 6 kilometers away, and instead of slowing down and then, like, moving in, I'm just going to adjust my trajectory because that makes sense. It's fuel efficient, and it's time efficient, and time is of the essence. Yeah. And there's the moon in the background, because I'm kind of thinking of making a little moon base for testing, just for testing stuff for landing on Eeloo. Because I am actually thinking about turning this into more of an interplanetary base series, doing lots of things. I think one of the things I'd have to do would be Tyler, really, isn't it? Because, well, Tyler's difficult, and I pick difficult things, and I have landed on the real-sized moon, so Tylo should be a doddle. It's just getting out to Joule, really. But it's probably not that much more than getting out to the real moon, because that's about a 3,000 delta V burn, and I can aerobrake around Joule, and Tylo's not that big. Lower gravity than Kerbin, and Kerbin has lower gravity than the moon, because the moon is 1/6 the size of Earth, and Kerbin is 1/10 the size of Earth. So I'm starting to lisp. So I think I might be able to do a Tylo base. I've been thinking of, well, I'm thinking just by myself I'd send my my lunar lander out, the proper one, just to see if that can actually do a Tylo landing. And then I kind of want to do one, because I've seen a lot of people do them. I've seen Harv do it, I've seen Scott Manley do it, and they've all used fairly big crafts. And Harv did it fairly efficiently, but then needed to add some stuff and made it slightly less efficient. And just wondering if I can show off a little bit, maybe. Although Harv and Scott Manley are pretty good. Don't know, I might test it out, and if I can do it better than them. Not saying I can, but if I could. Anyway, we're getting closer. That would be interesting. I must try that. I have lots of plans for things. I still need to do another properly successful mission, and the sun hasn't properly risen. Sorry, it's still in the dark. Anyway, I haven't done a proper mission of like a fully successful mission of thingy yet. But anyway, I just ditched the nose cone. A proper mission of the actual lunar landing on my rescaled Kerbin series. Anyway, I just ditched the protecting nose cone there. I've started putting nose cones on a lot of my spacecraft because I've become quite, I really like having realistic looking spacecraft. And I know my last launch vehicle wasn't very realistic, but nonetheless I decided to, you know, try and make it as realistic as possible. Anyway, we're coming in quite close, and you can see there's a lot of RCS on this. That is mainly to balance the corridor on the back. Oh no, that's not the corridor, that's the cargo bay on the back. Yeah. Anyway, but annoyingly, I knock the fuel probe. Oh no, the carrier fuel. It's called probe for some reason. Probably because it's a probe. Anyway, I knocked that, and that's annoying. And it's very hard to dock with a spinning target, so I had to sort that out. But because all of this took so long, I did cut it out. But I did manage to use RCS and the MechJeb little computer to stabilize it. Anyway, now I'm coming in for a perfect docking, coming in very slowly because I want to really line this up so that I get that corridor perfect, because that piece of metal is the top of the corridor and I just want it to work nicely. Yeah, so basically this is mainly balanced by having the big docking port on the bottom and the cargo bay on the top. No need for a cargo bay, but it's really cool to have one. No need for a corridor, really cool to have one. I just wanted to make this look fun, because I want to have some fun spacecraft, and my Eeloo shuttle didn't work great. If you saw the final episode of of Eeloo Base, of what's it called? The one I'm doing right now, the final episode of Series 1 of Eeloo Base. There's too many things. Yeah, you'll know that that didn't go perfectly, but I'm just going to attach a small fuel tank to it and use it for other things. Maybe going up to Joule if I decide to do more bases. But anyway, that is that docked. I think Sidbo needs to take a little look around the corridors. So he must crawl down out of his command pod into the habitation part with the corridors. A little gap in them because reasons. Because I'm not brilliant at building, but I am really working on, you know, like naval carriers and things for space battles. Yeah. That will be purely cinematic, I think, if I do that. But anyway, now I'm flying through this bit of the corridor, which is open because these are doors, and now I fly into the cargo bay, nice and roomy. I should be able to fit, well, about 2 meters square, 2 meters cubed times 3. No, it won't be 2. Yeah, it's freaking 2 meters cubed. No, 2 meters squared kind of diameter type things in there. That didn't make sense in maths, but shut up. Yeah, I think I just failed a maths mock exam today. Very good. Maybe I should have done more revision in Mexico. But anyway, there is a docking port in there, obviously, for docking things, to make it not just fall out of the cargo bay, because there isn't a door, because there are no stock doors, and as I say, this is almost entirely stock. And there's 4 nuclear engines. That's important. I am using 4 nuclear engines, not because of efficiency, because, yeah, efficiency is not that important. Because I can refuel, and I have basically infinite source of fuel on Eeloo, because I have a kethane miner, and I'm going to send more mining stuff out there, probably in this carrier, or the thing you'll see next. Yeah, but if basically, if one of those engines drops out, or 2 of the engines at diagonals to each other. I'm just taking a screenshot, that's why it goes all cinematic-y. But if I can basically lose 2 engines and still be able to complete my mission. And that was an important thing, because there is an overheating problem, and if one of the engines blows up, then I still want to be able to complete the mission. I'll just shut down the corresponding engine and just use 2. But if 2 engines on the side blow up, I'm screwed. I don't have that much RCS. I would have brought more, but yeah. And all that RCS on the bottom is going to be decoupled, because I don't want to be losing Delta V, because I will be taking cargo out there. Probably will need to refuel it at Eeloo, but I actually have to. I'm going to need an adapter for that, a docking adapter, so that I can dock the ethane miner to it and refuel it. Because I didn't really think that through. Originally, it was supposed to be able to go there and come back, but it makes sense to be able to refuel it, because it would be a lot of fuel and stuff if not. Anyway, let's get into the Panopticon module, and now we shall take a look out of it. Because actually, first we need to decouple the RCS. There it goes, and watch it fly away. But now we shall take a look out of the Panopticon module. Okay, no, we'll check our fuel. God damn it, man. Oh, and our Delta V. See, we have, well, minus 6,000 Delta V for some reason, but more than enough to get out to Eeloo and not screw up like the other ship did. Anyway, we'll switch control to the command pod, and we will now look. Oh, for God's sake, just past me. Look inside the Panopticon now. Yep, do your stupid camera stuff. It's not like it's being recorded. Okay, now we're going to look at the Panopticon and take a look down at Kerbal at sunrise, and we're looking at some continent, not sure. Anyway, you join me at Duna with the remains of the Project Duna craft. If you have been watching my channel for a while, you may remember Project Duna, a mission where I took a very large craft with lots of landers and rovers and things out to Duna, and most of that's on the surface now, a bit of it's back at Kerbal, but this is what remains, and there's another craft in orbit. This, which I used to return to the surface, return to orbit from the surface. And now I'm going to use this to send it send up to Project Duna, because there are no people in there, because I took them all back in a small return craft. So yeah, so I'll just use the fuel in this to get up there and attach my probe control, and also I'll have more fuel in this when I attach it to the. I'll be able to use the fuel as a bit of extra fuel for Project Duna, because I think the spacecraft, with the fuel it has, because it's using nuclear engines, it has very little fuel, but it does have nuclear engines, and it does have quite a lot of RCS, will be able to get home. Annoyingly, it's in a very high orbit. What's going on? I thought it just... I think I've stopped... Oh no, I'm RCS burning now. I was confused. Nothing was happening on screen. But yeah, now I'm just using the RCS, because I would rather use up RCS than liquid fuel, because liquid fuel is low ISP fuel, basically. Yeah, so we're just pulling that in. But yeah, I think it can get back to Kerbal safely, aero brake, well, aero capture actually, and then I'll refuel it there. If not, I could send something out, but I'd rather not. So I will be waiting for the transfer window at some point. And far flight systems are still on. I turned that off because this was actually recorded before the bit you just saw. But yeah, I had to turn far off for that, because there's one exactly aerodynamic spacecraft, if you didn't notice. Sorry about that, I just had to... Well, I stepped up, was just checking if I'd had my dinner, which I have not yet. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, anyway, I'm going to go rendezvous with the Project Duna spacecraft right now. Just make a quick fine-tune to get my close approach nice and close. So it's more of a close approach rather than the far approach. Yep, my words are gone. Anyway, we must get real close, and get a little closer. Oh yeah, now I'm just feathering around with RCS trying to figure out the best way to do this. I need to leave quite a bit of RCS, well not quite a bit, a little bit of RCS just for the docking, because, you know, docking's fairly important, and this annoyingly has a small docking port, and the small docking ports on the Project Duna spacecraft are, what are they? They're little ones nestled in between fuel tanks. You have to be really precise. Anyway, that's a pretty good rendezvous. I guess I get a little closer, or we would have skipped ahead by now. Yeah, and at some point I should probably come back to Duna just for the hell of it. I have a rover on the surface. Maybe I'll take a nice long drive, although I really don't like driving rovers in this game. It's too bumpy and it's just a bad control system. But anyway, that looks about as close as I'm going to get it. So, I'll skip ahead out of all that, because you've seen lots of docking and boring stuff in this episode, so we'll just put it back. And I might keep this spacecraft, well, I have to keep the spacecraft on, this craft on Project Duna for now because it needs probe control, but I also might keep it as its resident lander, or I might make a better one, I'm not sure. Anyway, I'm just going to put the monopropellant from that spacecraft, which was the Ike lander. It's missing some stuff because most of the stuff for landing on Ike is on Ike, but I didn't want to haul it back. But yeah, I'm just going to change its propellant and then leave that spacecraft because that's no longer needed. Yeah, this could be pretty good. It has lots of docking ports for dragging or pushing stuff. It has a few crew tanks, quite a few crew tanks actually, and 2 of them are clipped into each other because the game glitch or whatever. But yeah, I will need to move away from that spacecraft just to prevent random glitches like moving into it whilst time warping or whatever, and then screwing some of that bomb control. Anyway, because if I time warped or like went away and came back and that had drifted into the spacecraft whilst physics was off and then came back into the game, it would explode horribly, and we would all be killed. Anyway, I think I should probably transfer the fuel from this spacecraft into Project Duna because I'm going to need it for getting back. Annoyingly, the fuel tanks are on each side. They're completely separate, so I have to kind of try and manually balance the fuel between the nuclear engines, between the nuclear engine things. So I'll just do that now. No, that tank, yes. I'll just do that now. I'll do that now. It is annoying to balance. I wish you could have like a drag. I think you might be able to drag it now because you can drag like thrusts on engines, but I don't know. It would just be easier if you could have like a button that just said balance. That'd be great. There's probably there'll be a mod for that one there. Well, anyway, I should probably get that mod. Anyway, let's just balance the oxidizer, and then there is actually a little bit of video left planned for this, but it's not really anything, just looking at the Project Duna spacecraft. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope you're looking forward to Series 2, and we'll keep watching and such. I hope that this isn't in too high an orbit to effectively escape, as there will be basically no Warbirth effect. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, feel free to like the video. This has been KSP with Tape. I will see you next time.